EuroAsian Bob strikes again for the 37,000th time. Let's get started. And this time around, I'm buying the car, not you guys. I called dibs on this one. You don't get to have it. I already bought it. When it came in and I saw it for sale, I knew I had to have it. I took it before you guys could even see it. This is a 1995 Jaguar XJ12. That's right, the V12 of this series. It is a very special car. It's actually very rare. And it's me and Mrs. Wizard's Christmas present together. We decided we would go ahead and get this one. If you just watched the video on the XK8, which is currently getting torn apart, you saw that we mentioned if we could find a Jag again, we would go for it. And I was just thinking about it one night. It's like, where could I even find a nice one? There's so many on Facebook Marketplace that are literally like big Ultima Energy level Jags. They are trashed. I mean, they're junk. Where can I find a nice one? And then I thought to myself, you dummy, you already know where to look. Call Bob at EuroAsian Bob. He could probably hook you up with one or this or that. It just so happened that he had this one for sale. He's had a few people interested in it. And when I contacted him, I said, I tell you what, give me the Car Wizard deal, drive it up to my shop, I'll write you a check today, right now. He was like, done, deal done. Money talks, he said, and I'll bring it up there. We'll show it here in a minute, but it does have, like I mentioned, the V12 engine in it, the 6-liter V12, which is the same engine that's in the Jag L. Identical engine, in fact. That engine came from J&J Auto Wrecking in Marshallville, Ohio. This one obviously is with the car. We didn't have to get a salvage one. But EuroAsian Bob sent me pictures of this thing, and I saw the British Racing green color, the tan interior, the V12, and I was sold. On EuroAsian Bob's channel, which will be in the description below, there's a link to it. There's actually several people that have commented on the video on this car that between 95 and 96, which is the only years in North America that had the V12 on this X305 or X300 chassis, of the 200 or 300 that were made, there's probably 50 or less still running in good condition like this one. Now, it would easily scare someone away to think about the V12 that's in this car. They would immediately go, that's like double the cylinders of a normal Jag, and it's probably triple the price. I'm not interested. I don't want that car. It scares people. But obviously, I'm not afraid. I could fix everything on here. I have a WorldPack account. I can get all the parts I want at wholesale prices. But EuroAsian Bob just delivered this. He took a few video clips and for his channel, I suppose. And we went on a ride with it, and it rides so nice. It rides like a Cadillac. Now, you remember me and Mrs. Wizard talked about that we used to have an XJR. It did not ride like a Cadillac. It rode like a BMW 3 Series that had high-end springs put on it. It was rough. But this one is not. It is very smooth, very quiet, very soft. And I'm an old man, and that's what I like. So let me get this thing positioned a little better, and we can take a look around this thing. There's the beautiful face that me and Mrs. Wizard love so much, the Jaguar Classic front end. And it has a leaping kitty on it, Mrs. Wizard.
She's beautiful.
And the logo there, the gold logo.
And it has the other addition you so like.
Oh yeah, the harp type of grill. It doesn't sound like a Rolls though.
No, you might want to keep your day job.
The paint on here is very nice. It has a few small chips here or there, but nothing serious. It shows very well. It has the stock wheels. I really like those wheels. It designates this era of Jaguar. I would never put no Forgiatos or some big Ultima Energy wheels on here. I'm not going to do that. There's beautiful paint all the way down. You can see the chrome trim. It's in good shape, and it's a very classic styling. They don't do that anymore, really. Everything's blacked out. these days. As we come to the back, you can see the rear end of the Jag. You won't mistake that for a Crown Vic or a Grand Marquis. You will know that's a Jag. And you can see there's XJ12 denoted on the emblem there. Time to push the kitty face, Mrs. Wizard. We can see inside the boot. Since this is an English car, we're going to call it a boot. It has a Harman Kardon stereo, stock from the factory. It has a disc changer. It has the owner's manual still in its little briefcase there, or portfolio, whatever you want to call it. And it has the original Pirelli P4000 spare tire, and it's holding air. Some fix-a-flat and some paperwork in there, but I'll clean it out later. And as we go down this side, you can also see nice clean paint, no dents, no scratches, nice chrome mirrors. The glass is not cracked, all the glass is in good shape. Everything looks very nice. Let's go ahead and open the bonnet. Are you ready to see some V12 goodness, guys? It really fills this engine bay nicely. Look how clean it is. The aluminum, all of the plated bolts and hardware, everything is still there as far as the plating. It looks like it's just a few years old. There's our compressor right in the middle of the engine. It is a long engine. It's literally this long. Basically like an inline six with two banks is basically all it is. As you can see on the driver's side, it's very much the same. It has dual throttle bodies. There's one here, and this little linkage connects to the other side. There's a second one over there. And you can see an ABS unit clear on the other side, the little black motor. As big as this engine is, it's still not super hard to work on compared to some new cars that are out today. It does fill up the entire engine bay, and it is a 6-liter. It has around 315 horsepower. It's got real good power. Let's go ahead and let Mrs. Wizard give you guys a tour of the interior.
Okay, ladies and gents, I haven't had too much time to tour this because, as the Wizard said, it just arrived. And I'm absolutely shocked at the condition it's in. It has 83,000 miles on it. It's going to present that well. It looks new. Look at the gauges. Look at the wood behind it in pristine condition. So as we move up, ladies and gents, look at that. That is a nice vinyl dash. There's no cracks, no crevices. And look there. There's a set of keys. And look there. There's a set of keys. We've owned a lot of used vehicles, and we're happy we just obviously get the one. We hardly ever get the second key. It's amazing. As we scoot down and look there, again, it's looking fabulous. Look at the wood grain here. There's no cracks, nothing going on, no peeling on that wood grain. And it's got, of course, lovely little marker there for the V12. Nice little inlay also wrapping into that wood grain, also is in really good shape. No separations, anything. Got a simple stereo system, and this system looks very much like the XK8 we just presented last week. Again, really good controls here. This is slightly different. It lifts up, and very simple little, I guess, ashtray, which we called it a cigarette lighter, but that will become now the new charging port. This, there we go. He did have a few issues a few seconds ago, but we got him lined back up. Nice little cup holder, and again, being that it's plastic, can be pretty questionable if it's going to work this long. So we pull this up. Got a little bit of paperwork in there, but again, looking good. The little hinge is in good shape. As we look at this door card, it does have that vinyl that goes across the top with that wood inlay inside, and there are a few cracks in that, which does make sense because that door does get, a little bit more, banging and clanging, being opened and closed. Can't be too many times with the 83,000 miles on the car. Down below, we have leather, and we have our controls for our windows with a speaker also inside. The seats do show a little bit of age. There is a slight separation right here. But again, we know our guy here in town can also work on that. It's got a lovely little map spot right there, I guess, to hide hidey hole spots. But it does have a nice darker kind of a taupe color piping inside the leather as well. It does have some nice soft bolster, and the feeling is not quite a sofa level, but it is quite comfortable. As we move down, Yes, it looks like a teddy bear is on the floor of this car. Those are real wool stock floor mats. And they look like they've not been stepped on at all, and probably because they haven't terribly much with the 83,000 miles. Okay, ladies and gents, to present the back seat, I actually had to crawl back here. And while it has a fair amount of room back here, the seats would have to be moved up a little bit for me to be comfortable, because there's no way we're putting down the table with my knee hitting it. But let's go back over to the other side. Here is a lovely table. It pulls up. There we go. Lovely little spot there to have your Grey Poupon, I guess, on your sandwich. Okay. It has a little bit of cracking on there, again, because there's just a lot of motion in here. The other side does as well. This does seat 3 people back here, because we can tell there's a second option for a seatbelt. But this is in the way, so I guess they will have to straddle this. But it's a nice little spot to keep things high and put things as well. Also, the center section also comes up. It reveals a under area that you can actually hide things in. Well, apparently the Lexington area wide phone book from 96-97 has been living back here for a very long time. So that's almost vintage in itself, because who actually uses phone books any longer? That goes down. The other thing is, obviously, if that goes down, this also goes down as well. So we have a very nice armrest that can go down as well. As we go up, you'll see nice headliner, no marks, no Cheeto fingers. Does have a lovely sunroof that we haven't tested yet, but we assume it works, because Bob wouldn't give us anything other than something fabulous. As we scroll down, you'll see that is a really nice layout. Very classic, very vintage Jag. One thing that is slightly different before I send you off to get this on the lift is there is our cruise control and some of our other controls as well, up here behind the steering wheel. So that is a different spot, but again, I have long enough fingers that it's not a very big grab. I can almost touch it without letting go of the steering wheel. So not too annoying, not like we're used to with many on the stock now, but that is slightly one thing that is different. Our steering wheel, lovely wood grain on the top and on the bottom, but it's in really good shape, and he's roaring at us to tell us to get this thing up in the air. So let's listen to the Jaguar on the center of our steering wheel.
So just like any vehicle that has a V12, whether it be a Mercedes S600 or a V12 Lamborghini, anything that has a V12, they're so smooth on the actuation of the pistons and everything that the starter actually sounds really strange. We're used to a very staccato or percussive sound with a starter, but with the V12, it's like, it's almost like there's no compression, is what it sounds like. But it does have good compression. They sound really strange when they start, and that's the case here too. You guys heard that a minute ago. It's really interesting. So anyways, let's take a look underneath and see what we got. Looks like there's a little clip or something missing for here. I'm not sure what goes there. Maybe I'll just make something to zip tie it here or something, but otherwise, our radiator is nice and dry. Belts look good. Oil pan is not pouring oil out. There is a little seepage there. Probably up top somewhere, but it's not bad. Check this wheel out here. The brakes are about 60% remaining. Nothing loose there. The shock is good. Sway bar link is good. Go to this side here. Brakes are good there. The shock is good. Sway bar link is good. Everything looks good there. Here's our oil pan, which has a little seepage here from the drain plug. Maybe it's had a recent oil change or something. Just needs a new copper washer probably. Here's our transmission, which on this Jaguar is actually a General Motors 4L80E with a bell housing that's made to mate up to this V12. So from here back is basically a Chevy 4L80E. So that should make it easy for rebuilds or any issues like that if it were to arise. It was the same transmission that was in our 01 XJR, and a lot of British cars used General Motors transmissions for quite a while. Rolls-Royce used them for a while. Bentley Turbo Rs have them. This has them. The older Jaags have them. It's really kind of cool the way they did that. Here's our dual exhaust going down. Catalytic converters. There's O2 sensors. A resonator chamber. Here's our drive shaft. Everything's good there. Here's a flex disc. It has 2 U-joints and 1 flex disc. Here's the flex disc. Here's our big giant differential. Bolted to some framework here. Here we are again, just like on the XK8 that we just looked at. It has a lower control arm but no upper control arm. It actually uses this axle shaft as a locating arm. Everything seems good there. Brakes are good. The shock's not blown out. It does look like our seat, which is like a pink color up there for the spring, maybe getting worn out. That's why it sits a little low in the back. So all I need to do is just replace that isolator, spring isolator, and that'll solve it. That's not really a big deal at all. And brakes look good here. Axle shaft is good. The shock is not blown out. The tires look kind of old though. Let's see if we can find a date code. So here's our date code. These tires are actually from 2013, which makes them almost 10 years old. So we'll use them a little bit longer, and it'll probably be time for tires when springtime comes around. But they still got good meat on them. It's not like they're bad, but they definitely have some age on them. Well, I didn't see any major catastrophes, no major leaks or anything majorly broken, and it drives very well. So let's go ahead and get this thing down. So right now we have 3 Jaags in the shop, and what's really cool about the color of this 95, it's the same exact color as Tyler's E-Type that's behind me, the 66, that's British Racing Green, just like this one. So that's really, really cool. So we're getting close to being done with the XLR. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be back on the road again. Definitely wanted to share this purchase with you guys. It is really cool. We wanted a Jag, and we definitely went to the right place. We knew we could find what we were looking for at EuroAsian Bob's, and he did not disappoint. It was delivered to me right away, and I had a check waiting for him. There's a few things I need to fix, a tiny little oil leak and some spring isolators in the back, maybe some tires. That's about it. And this thing will be so nice to cruise in. I've actually drove it here today when he delivered it, and it literally rides like a 60s Cadillac. It is so smooth. It is quite the sleeper. The V12 has lots of torque, and it's smooth. It's like an electric motor. It just pulls really hard, and you watch the speed just climb really fast. It's not a lot of fanfare, but it's very efficient at getting its power out. Very quiet, I guess you should say. When I saw that it was the V12 model and it was in good shape, and I know how rare these are, I knew I had to have it. If you're curious, looking for cars that are this special, you definitely want to give EuroAsian Bob a ring. You can click the link below. It goes to his website. He also has a YouTube channel where he posts the cars that he has for sale and a few other videos. You definitely want to check that out as well. But in this area, and really in the nation, if you want to think about it, he's the go-to guy to find these special cars. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to fix the few little items this thing needs, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we are getting a bus video coming very soon. Thanks for watching.